honeymooned in Mexico, and about 2 weeks after we were married, I started to feel sick. And the only two things we could think of, one was that we had honeymooned in Mexico, maybe I picked up a bug there, and the other is that I became sexually active. I thought it was like any normal sickness, it would just go away. We continued in our lifestyle, and then after about 4 weeks, I realized it wasn't a normal sickness. After about 6 months, I was experiencing chronic pain. I was unable to use a mouse anymore with my right hand. I had severe nerve damage in my hands, and my muscles were so sore, I had a hard time just holding my hands above the keyboard. I continued to do Google searches. I found that there was a small community online that was growing of people who had this. It wasn't many. I went to the group and told them that I've been working on this idea based on my condition, which is called Feel Alike, and it'll allow us to all see what treatments other people are trying and what's working for them, because that's what we spent about 80% of our time discussing, is what treatment are you trying and how well is it working for you? The pipe dream behind Feel Alike is that when you are newly diagnosed with a condition, we want you to be about 30 seconds away from seeing what the top treatments are for that condition. And we want you to be just a few minutes away from connecting with people who have that same condition. Our hope is that it will inspire people to share their solutions with each other. Our focus right now is making sure that it really works for e-patients. If we find the right formula in 5 years, we're hoping, that it will benefit millions of people. Being largely cured of this condition, I want to talk about it because I sincerely feel that when people share something about themselves, there's definitely a cost associated with that. But it's not until we share our problems with each other that we find the best solutions. And I don't think that people can achieve their optimal state of health without openly sharing with each other.
Let's welcome our next e-patient, Brett Alder.
Good morning. I have an extremely rare autoimmune condition that, if it were contagious, could threaten to destroy all of humanity. I'm allergic to sex. For most of my life, I was a really healthy guy, almost never sick, and generally felt great. Shortly after I married my college sweetheart, that all changed. During the first months of our marriage, I progressively got sicker and sicker. We suspected that sex was making me ill, but had never heard of such a thing. And consequently, neither had Google. But my symptoms were episodic. Immediately after sex, I would get a headache, sore muscles, and throbbing nerves. The day after came the heavy brain fog. As we moderated sexual activity, we found that I would have symptoms for about 7 days after sex. As you can imagine, it took some time to build up the courage to visit a doctor. When I finally did, a general practitioner pretended like he hadn't heard me. A rheumatologist listened, but the only thing he wrote on my chart was myalgia, muscle pain. Another specialist told me that my condition didn't make sense. Many years later, the answers came. A research paper had been published out of the Netherlands indicating that sufferers were allergic to their own semen. And that's when I learned the name of my condition: post-orgasmic illness syndrome. Great. Sex makes me sick, and now I've got this PG-13 condition name. Go team. The Dutch researcher treated 2 patients by giving them diluted injections of their own semen to desensitize their immune systems. I rushed to get tested. But even though I had the same internal reaction to the intradermal injection that I normally did to sex, my allergist was skeptical because I didn't have a typical skin reaction. He declined to treat me, and I determined to treat myself. And today, largely thanks to the help of my fellow sufferers, I am mostly cured. But standing outside of the medical industry for so many years gave me a different perspective. What did I really want? I wanted to be healed, to live a normal life. At a minimum, I thought I should be able to do two things: connect with fellow sufferers and see if they knew of any treatments that worked. If medicine couldn't make that possible, perhaps technology could. But how could technology enable such a connection and work for people like myself, who have undiagnosed conditions or who might be sharing unconventional treatments? It had to be inclusive. You see, when there's no place for you in the medical industry, or you go to join an online community but can't because you don't know the name of your condition, you feel like there's something wrong with you. As iPhone designer Jonathan Ives said, "When our tools are broken, we feel broken." I was done feeling broken. I put together a team, and after about 50 iterations, we finally figured out a way of allowing anyone with any health problem to fit in. One part of that is this form right here. I was excited to fill it out for myself. That day, I felt a tiny bit more whole. We challenged ourselves to build a 10-second profile that represented you as a person, made it easy to establish trust and to see what was working for other people. And finally, when you join a group, we pull that information from your profile to try to answer some of the most commonly asked questions by e-patients. Has anyone else tried this treatment? Does anyone else experience this particular symptom? Imagine how much smaller our problems would be if we faced them together with people who feel just like us. Unite, share, thrive, feel alike. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett.